So let's get into this because the question floating around right now about the Golden State Warriors front office this offseason is one of those where you can really go either way depending on how you look at it. If you're the type of fan who values sticking to long-term principles, staying patient with young talent, and not panicking into bad trades, you might be ready to hand them an A just for refusing to move Jonathan Kuminga for the sake of making a splash. But if you're in the camp that thinks this Kuminga situation should have been resolved by now, either committing to him as a core piece or flipping him for a player who fits this roster better, then you might be handing them a flat-out F for indecision. And here's the thing. We've got new data that paints a clearer picture of where each NBA front office stands in terms of decision-making, how those decisions translate to actual results on the court, and whether a team is setting itself up for short-term wins, long-term success, or potentially neither. When you line up those numbers, the Warriors' approach this offseason starts to look a lot more complicated than a simple pass or fail grade. For years, Warriors fans got spoiled by the work of Bob Myers. The man helped orchestrate a dynasty in the 2010s, built around Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and the rest. But since Mike Dunleavy Jr. took over the GM chair, the ride has been more of a roller coaster. Yes, there was the massive trade for Jimmy Butler, which looked like it might propel the team into another deep playoff run. But that move hasn't exactly brought consistent dominance. Before Butler arrived, the team was in rough shape. They started the season strong at 12 wins and 3 losses, then slid into mediocrity at 21-21 before finishing the regular season on a better note. Even then, Steph got hurt, which derailed any chance of a serious run. And if we're being real, even with a healthy roster, Minnesota might have had the edge in talent, and Oklahoma City probably would have taken them out in the conference finals anyway. Now, that's where the new data becomes interesting. It plots each team's front office score against a comprehensive score, basically measuring how effectively the strategic decisions, draft picks, trades, cap management, are turning into wins. It also highlights which teams are overperforming or underperforming compared to their ideal growth path. Some teams, like the Thunder or Spurs, have openly embraced a rebuild, collecting picks and developing young stars. Others, like the Pacers, prefer to retool on the fly, avoiding the deep tanking approach. The Warriors fall firmly into the retooling category. They haven't bottomed out in years, but they also haven't been able to fully transition into their next era without leaning on the aging core. And when you look at the chart, the Thunder are sitting pretty with a comprehensive score of 500 and a front office score of 40. That's elite territory. They nailed draft picks, flipped veterans for future assets, and even snagged players like Alex Caruso and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in deals that will pay off for years. They tanked after the Durant-Westbrook-Harden era and are now set up for sustained success. On the other side, you got teams like the Nets and Hornets, each with a front office score of 0, but a comprehensive score still around 500. What that tells you is they're doing exactly what they set out to do, break things down to the studs in order to build back up. The Hornets, for example, are stuck in a sort of purgatory, but at least the direction is clear. The Warriors? Their score is minus 7.04. That lands them in what's called the sacrificing optimality zone. In other words, the moves they've made, like keeping Draymond, staying committed to Curry, and adding Jimmy Butler, have been about squeezing out the present rather than maximizing future flexibility. Sure, they've held on to some draft picks, but those picks haven't turned into impact players yet. And with the new collective bargaining agreement punishing high spenders with brutal tax bills, it's a dangerous place to be if you're not winning titles. That's the dilemma. Do you cash in a young piece like Kuminga for a solid but non-elite contributor like a Malik Monk or Josh Giddey? Or do you hang on and risk watching his value drop if he doesn't take the leap this year? We've seen other franchises push all their chips in. Milwaukee and Phoenix are the clearest examples, and so far it hasn't paid off. The Bucks sacrificed long-term depth for Damian Lillard, and the Suns gutted their asset pool for Kevin Durant, pairing him with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. The result? No championships yet, and less flexibility going forward. Meanwhile, other franchises have chosen patience. San Antonio built around Victor Wembanyama, then added De'Aaron Fox with a contract extension, creating a foundation for years. The Raptors are slowly climbing back toward contention without mortgaging their future. The Pistons and Thunder have stockpiled youth and picks. The Wizards have been stuck in rebuild mode for what feels like forever, but are finally on a clearer track. The Pelicans? Still hovering in limbo. Back to the Warriors. Right now, they're straddling that line between chasing one last ring with the current core and preparing for the inevitable post-Curry reality. They've made moves that keep the door open for a playoff run, but not the kind of moves that vault them into clear championship favorite status. And that's why, according to this data, they're in the sacrificing future bucket. The numbers also show that last season, the Warriors were expected to win about 42 games. They ended up with around 49, which is a nice overperformance, but it's not like they blew the doors off the projections. Compare that to a team like the Thunder, who not only exceeded expectations, but translated that into playoff success. On the flip side, teams like the Bucks and Suns fell well short of their projected wins, which aligns with the narrative that their win-now gambles aren't delivering. When you chart all out, you see the Warriors' reality. They're still competitive, still capable of winning on any given night, but not in that top tier where the data says a championship is likely. They're essentially fighting to stay relevant, while trying to avoid the dreaded middle ground where you're too good to tank, but not good enough to win big. That's where this conversation about the front office grade gets so tricky. If you value the patience, the belief in Kuminga, and the willingness to ride it out with Curry, Thompson, and Green, then sure, give them an A for sticking to their guns. But if you look at it through the lens of maximizing championship windows, especially when Curry's prime years are ticking down, then holding on to assets without turning them into immediate difference makers might feel like a missed opportunity. And in this league, with the financial rules tightening and competition heating up, missed opportunities can be the difference between another banner in the rafters and another early playoff exit. The Warriors' path forward is going to depend on whether Dunleavy and company are willing to shift from this cautious retool to a bold push when the right deal comes along, or if they'll keep playing the long game and hope Kuminga becomes the kind of star who makes all this patience worth it. If we really zoom in on the bigger picture of where the Warriors are right now, it's clear that their identity as a franchise is in a delicate balancing act. This isn't the same team that was running roughshod over the league from 2015 through 2019. Back then, every move the front office made seemed like a masterstroke. Drafting Steph Curry when his ankles were still a medical red flag, grabbing Klay Thompson when critics thought he might be one-dimensional, taking Draymond Green in the second round, and then finding a way to add Kevin Durant without dismantling the core. That kind of magic is rare, and it created a level of expectation that's almost impossible to sustain. Now, Dunleavy's challenge is very different. He's not just building around a superstar in his prime. He's trying to squeeze every ounce of production from a core that's still talented but undeniably aging, while also planting seed for the next era without tearing the current one apart. This is where the Kuminga decision becomes symbolic of the entire direction. He's young, athletic, and still raw. He's shown flashes of being a two-way impact player, the kind of wing who can guard multiple positions, finish above the rim, and maybe even develop into a secondary scoring option. But flashes aren't the same as sustained production, and the front office knows that the rest of the league sees both the upside and the uncertainty. If they hold on and he blossoms into an all-star, the patience looks brilliant. If they hold on and he stagnates, they've essentially let one of their best trade chips lose value. And with the Warriors' current salary structure, they can't just go out and buy another high-upside young player on the open market. They're already deep into luxury tax territory. The data about this sacrificing optimality zone tells you they're leaning toward prioritizing the now over the future, even if they haven't gone full all-in like the Suns or Bucks. Those two franchises mortgaged almost everything for their star pairings, but Golden State's approach has been more of a halfway gamble, keeping their picks, holding on to younger players like Moses Moody and Kuminga, but still making win now moves like adding Butler. The risk here is that halfway measures can leave you stranded. Too cautious to maximize your title odds in the present, but too committed to veterans to truly develop the next wave. When you look at what other teams have done, you start to see just how fine this line is. Oklahoma City didn't hesitate to trade Paul George for a haul that included Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a mountain of draft picks. San Antonio didn't waste time surrounding Wembanyama with real talent, bringing in De'Aaron Fox to make sure their generational big man has a competent backcourt partner. Even the Raptors, who have been slow to make blockbuster trades, have been steadily reshaping their roster so they're ready to pounce when the right star becomes available. The Warriors' moves, in comparison, feel more like careful treading than decisive leaps. Part of this is the reality of having Curry. As long as he's on the roster and playing at a high level, it's almost impossible to justify a tear down. You don't waste one of the greatest shooters and one of the most popular players in NBA history by tanking. But the flip side is that every year you spend in the middle ground is another year of his prime gone, and no one knows how many more seasons he can play at this level. That urgency is why some fans look at the front office and think, why aren't we doing more? The win projection data drives this point home. The Warriors were expected to win around 42 games and ended up closer to 49, which is a nice bump, but not enough to scare the league's elite. That kind of improvement is respectable, but in the West, where you've got the Nuggets, Thunder, Timberwolves, and even the Kings pushing hard, being respectable isn't going to cut it in a 7-game series. The Thunder, in particular, are showing what it looks like when smart front office moves translate directly into on-court dominance. They didn't just exceed expectations. They turned their asset base into a contender without sacrificing their future flexibility. That's the ideal blueprint, and it's why they're sitting at the top of all these charts. What's fascinating is how the Warriors situation looks when you compare it to those flexible franchise rankings. Flexibility isn't just about having cap space. It's about having assets you can move, young players under team control, and draft picks that still belong to you. Golden State's flexibility is limited not because they've traded away everything, but because the contracts they have are so large and so tied to veteran players. Draymond Green is locked in. Klay Thompson's future is always a topic of debate. But even if he leaves, replacing him isn't simple with the cap restrictions in place. Jimmy Butler brings star power and experience, but also eats a huge chunk of the payroll. All of this means that even if the front office wanted to pivot sharply, their options are fewer than they might appear on paper. And yet, there's an argument to be made that the Warriors' path is still viable if the margins break their way. If Kuminga takes a leap, if Moody becomes a reliable rotation piece, if Butler stays healthy and productive, and if Curry continues to defy father time, this team could absolutely make a deep playoff run. They've got championship DNA, veteran leadership, and a system that, when clicking, is still one of the most difficult to guard in basketball. The margin for error is just razor thin compared to the days when they had overwhelming talent advantages. The real test for Dunleavy and his staff will come if the season doesn't start the way they hope. Do they double down on the current core and ride it out? Or do they finally cash in someone like Kuminga for a player who fits more seamlessly into the timeline of Curry's remaining prime? That decision will define not just this season, but the next 5 years of Warriors basketball. Make the wrong move, and you risk being stuck in mediocrity. Make the right one, and you could squeeze one more championship out of this incredible run. All of this also has to be viewed through the lens of the new CBA. The penalties for high-spending teams aren't just financial. They actively limit roster-building tools. Losing access to the mid-level exception, facing stricter trade restrictions, and being unable to aggregate salaries and deals are all massive hurdles. For a team like Golden State, already operating at the top of the payroll charts, these rules make creative roster construction almost impossible without either shedding salary or hitting absolute home runs in the draft. And the draft hasn't exactly been a gold mine for them lately. They've made some solid picks, but no one outside the core has emerged as a guaranteed long-term star. So when you take all of this into account, that A or F question becomes less about grading a single offseason and more about grading a philosophy. Are you rewarding the front office for staying patient, valuing internal development, and refusing to make desperation moves? Or are you penalizing them for not being aggressive enough to maximize one of the greatest players of all time while you still can? That's the real debate. Before we continue, Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers have been swirling in the basketball world recently about a potential seismic shift involving the Golden State Warriors, one of the NBA's most storied franchises. Rumor has it that KASPARAS JAKUCIONIS, often dubbed the new DONCIC by some fervent basketball aficionados due to his slick playmaking and scoring prowess reminiscent of Luka Doncic, may have inked a contract with the Warriors. This possible signing has stirred an intense buzz among fans and analysts alike, who are speculating on what this move could mean for the team's dynamics moving forward. While the Warriors have long been associated with their core of seasoned veterans like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, the potential addition of JAKUCIONIS might indicate a strategic pivot toward integrating fresh, young talent into their roster. Such a decision could suggest the franchise is preparing for a transition phase, ensuring their competitiveness well into the future. The excitement and intrigue surrounding JAKUCIONI's style of play, which blends sharp court vision with a deadly scoring touch, have only heightened expectations. His perceived similarity to Doncic, who has revolutionized the game with his versatility and basketball IQ, fuels speculation that the Warriors may have discovered their next franchise cornerstone. This development is still shrouded in uncertainty, but if true, it could reshape the Warriors' trajectory for seasons to come. The buzz about KASPARAS JAKUCIONIS signing with the Warriors has generated significant speculation regarding the strategic motivations behind the move. Observers wonder if the Warriors are aiming to inject youthful energy and creative versatility into their established lineup. Historically, the team's success has hinged on the blend of experience and innovation, balancing veteran leadership with emerging stars. JAKUCIONI's potential arrival might be an indication that the Warriors' front office envisions a future where he plays a pivotal role in their offensive schemes. His ability to control the tempo, create opportunities for teammates, and score under pressure could offer the Warriors a new dimension in their playbook. This rumor also prompts questions about how existing players will adjust to sharing the spotlight with this promising newcomer. The synergy between JAKUCIONIS and the Warriors' current stars remains a hot topic among insiders, with some predicting a seamless fit due to complementary skill sets, while others remain cautious about potential chemistry challenges. The Warriors' coaching staff will undoubtedly face the delicate task of integrating JAKUCIONIS into a system renowned for its precision and teamwork. If the signing is confirmed, it might symbolize a bold step in the team's evolution, sparking fresh excitement among the fanbase eager to witness how this new Doncic could influence Golden State's style of play. Further intrigue surrounds KASPARAS JAKUCIONI's rumored contract with the Warriors, especially considering the timing within the broader NBA landscape. The league is witnessing a rapid influx of young talent rising to prominence, and JAKUCIONIS fits neatly into this emerging trend. Fans and analysts are pondering whether this potential signing reflects the Warriors' intent to stay ahead in an increasingly competitive environment by securing a player with high upside and considerable upside potential. JAKUCIONIS, with his notable court awareness and scoring versatility, might represent a new breed of player capable of shifting game momentum single-handedly. The Warriors' front office, while known for their savvy decisions in the draft and free agency, could be betting on JAKUCIONIS to become a franchise cornerstone. If these rumors hold true, the move might also signal a subtle acknowledgement that even dynasties must adapt to the evolving pace and style of modern basketball. Moreover, the potential signing opens up discussions about contract details, such as length and financial terms, that could influence the Warriors' salary cap management and future acquisitions. The prospect of JAKUCIONIS donning the iconic Warriors jersey has ignited conversations about the potential redefinition of the team's identity, sparking hope and cautious optimism in the community. The supposed acquisition of KASPARAS JAKUCIONIS by the Golden State Warriors has led to rampant speculation about the broader implications for the NBA's competitive hierarchy. Many insiders suggest that this signing could send shockwaves through the league, altering power dynamics and forcing rival teams to reconsider their strategies. JAKUCIONI's arrival might enhance the Warriors' offensive arsenal significantly, providing them with a versatile guard capable of stretching defenses and orchestrating plays under pressure. The comparison to Luka Doncic adds to the narrative, painting Jakucionis as a potential generational talent who could elevate Golden State's game to new heights. This rumored deal also sparks debates about the Warriors' approach to balancing veteran presence with youthful exuberance, potentially marking a shift towards a more aggressive rebuild or retooling phase. Basketball pundits are also speculating on how this signing might influence the development of younger players currently on the Warriors roster, possibly creating a more competitive and dynamic environment within the team. The buzz suggests that the Warriors are positioning themselves not only for immediate success, but for sustained dominance, leveraging Jakucionis' unique skill set to craft a team capable of competing at the highest level for years to come. While the deal remains unconfirmed, the anticipation and excitement it generates are undeniable. Amid the swirling rumors of KASPARAS JAKUCIONIS signing with the Warriors, there is a palpable sense of anticipation about how this potential move fits into the franchise's long-term vision. Basketball insiders are speculating that the Warriors may be laying the groundwork for a new era, combining the seasoned expertise of their veteran stars with the dynamic flair of a player who could be the next Doncic. This blend might offer Golden State a compelling mix of stability and innovation, crucial for navigating the evolving challenges of the NBA. The timing of this rumor also invites questions about how the coaching staff intends to maximize Jakucionis' talents within their existing systems. Fans are eager to see whether his playmaking and scoring abilities can be seamlessly integrated with the Warriors' renowned ball movement and defensive schemes. Furthermore, the possible signing underscores the franchise's commitment to maintaining its status as a perennial contender, signaling that they are actively pursuing talent capable of driving championship runs. As the rumor mill continues to churn, the basketball world watches closely, anticipating confirmation that could mark a defining moment for the Warriors' future. Whether Jakucionis lives up to the lofty expectations remains to be seen, but the mere possibility of this signing has undeniably electrified the NBA community. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.